guys, welcome back to the Gridiron Expert. We are here at Ryan Field in Evanston, Illinois, home of the Northwestern Wildcats, bringing you our 2019 Northwestern Football Predictions. And last year, Northwestern kind of surprised a lot of people. They started the season off 1-3 with upset losses here at home to Akron and Duke, before winning 7 of their final 8 games and making a trip to the Big Ten title game, and then beating Utah in the Holiday Bowl to finish the season 9-5. And this season, the Wildcats even have higher hopes going into 2019, as they have one of the biggest additions of the entire offseason, bringing in quarterback Hunter Johnson, the transfer from Clemson. And this offense lost their all-time leading passer in Clayton Thorson, so Hunter Johnson certainly has big shoes to fill, but I think he will fit perfectly into Pat Fitzgerald's offense. But whether or not he hits his stride in year one as a sophomore remains to be seen. He will have a great supporting cast, though. He returns his running back in Isaiah Bowser, who rushed for over 800 yards last year, and the defense could even be better than they were last year as well. 6 returning starters, including Blake Gallagher and Patty Fisher at the linebacking core, so a very talented linebacking core for the Wildcats in 2019. But if you look at the schedule here, you can automatically see there's a big kind of gap in their schedule. The first half of their schedule, ending with the home game against Ohio State, is extremely brutal. The back half of their schedule is much more favorable for Northwestern, so they could be off to a rough start again in 2019, much like they had that 1-3 start in 2018. They opened the season up on the road against Stanford, and if you remember back in 2015, we didn't know it yet, but Northwestern's upset win over Stanford here at Ryan Field pretty much ruined the Cardinals' college football playoff hopes. We didn't know it at the time, but that was certainly the case, a 16-6 victory for the Wildcats. This year on the road, bringing in a new quarterback, bringing in some questions at the wide receiver position. Stanford is not an easy place to play, no doubt in my mind. It's a very difficult place to play. They return one of the most veteran quarterbacks in the Pac-12 in KJ Costello. They lose Bryce Love, yes, but I think this offense will be fine, and David Shaw's defense are usually fairly potent as well. I think Northwestern goes on the road and falls to Stanford in a little bit of a revenge game about 4 years later for the Cardinals as well. So Northwestern falling on the road. We can deal with the win here to Stanford. Come off an early bye week. You know, every team's going to have 2 bye weeks going into this year, and I don't like teams that have an early bye week. But this will be good for Northwestern to kind of work out any issues that they have in the Stanford game. They return home, beat UNLV here at Ryan Field, and then they get to host Michigan State to kick off Big Ten play. And this is a very big game. You know, last year they beat Michigan State. They've actually beaten the Spartans the past 3 meetings when they faced off against Martin Antonio and his squad. But this Michigan State team to me is a little bit different. Yes, they do return a lot of stars defensively, and that will certainly be their strength. But I'm expecting some bigger play out of Brian Lewerke in 2019. He had a really down 2018, had a great 2017, so whether or not his play can improve will really decide how good Michigan State will be in 2019. I think his play does improve enough. I think it was a fairly young offense. This Michigan State defense, hungry to snap that 3-game losing streak to the Wildcats, beats them, and Northwestern falls at home to the Spartans. They then go to back-to-back road games against Wisconsin and Nebraska. And these are 2 games I really do not like. I wish that Northwestern was getting to host at least one of these games. But unfortunately for them, they're back-to-back road games. Going on the road to Wisconsin, they're facing off against one of the better running backs in the entire nation, and Jonathan Taylor. Going to be a very tough test for this Northwestern defense. We mentioned how strong the linebacking core is and how they could play a major role in shutting down Jonathan Taylor, which means Wisconsin will have to win this game through the air, whether it's going to be with Graham Mertz or Jack Cohn. Regardless of who it is, I think either one of those quarterbacks was better than Alex Hornibrook at Wisconsin last year, and I think they'll be able to get the job done with Paul Chryst's team. I think Northwestern falls to Wisconsin. This game could be close, but I would expect the Badgers to win this one by at least 10 points. They then go on the road to Nebraska, and this is a game that I think everybody expects Nebraska to win the West this year. Everybody expects Nebraska to come out of this division. A lot of hype surrounding this team. Scott Frost in year 2 went 4-8 last year, but now brings back a much more veteran defense and a very talented quarterback in Adrian Martinez. Nebraska getting to host this game. Lincoln, not an easy place to play at all. I think once again Nebraska owns the edge there. Well, I think, and the quarterback play, at least for now, Adrian Martinez having a year of play under his belt, and then maybe on the slight edge defensively. I think Nebraska, I'm buying into the hype, and I think they get the win over Northwestern. And if you look, they're 1-4, so even a worse start than they had in 2018. And unfortunately, it's going to be even worse than that. Coming off this bye week, they get to host Ohio State here at Ryan Field, a huge game, cross-division, Ohio State from the East, Northwestern, of course, being in the West. And this game has all the ingredients for being an upset for Northwestern. They're coming off a bye week. I expect all of these losses here to be relatively close. But they're coming off a bye week. They're getting to host Ohio State on a Friday night. That seems ripe for an upset for the Buckeyes. I just don't see it happening. I think you have two young quarterbacks in Justin Fields and Hunter Johnson. You're going to see them really hit their strides in this game. But in the end, Ohio State certainly owns the defensive edge. I think they do get the win over Northwestern. Could be a close one. Could be ripe for an upset, but I just don't see it happening. Northwestern once again falls to Ohio State. They are 1-5 going into that game against Iowa on October 26th. And as you can see, I mentioned how difficult that first part of the schedule was and how they're really going to have to hit their stride in the back half of the schedule. And fortunately for them, that could very well be the case. They're facing Iowa at home, and we're dealing with a lot of wind here, as you can see. But they're facing off against Iowa at home, a team that once again boasts one of the better quarterbacks in the Big Ten in Nathan Stanley. Their defense also extremely talented. But I do think that Northwestern finally snaps a losing streak here and beats Iowa. I expect all of these losses to be relatively close from Northwestern. They're a couple wins away from maybe being, 8, 9, 10-win team if they can pull off these upsets here in the first half of the schedule. But I think they bounce back with a win over Iowa, snap that long 4-game losing streak, and they beat the Hawkeyes at home. They then go on the road to face off against Indiana, and I know a lot of people will disagree with me here, but I am picking a loss for the Wildcats here. Pat Fitzgerald, you never want to doubt one of his teams. He's entering year 14 with the Wildcats, so another phenomenal job well done, and the job that he has done here in Evanston cannot be overlooked. But Indiana, like Northwestern, is a team that is hungry. And Indiana is a team that's hungry to go bowling, as they have missed the bowl the past 2 seasons, going just 5-7, following in the season finale to Purdue each time. This Indiana team finally has the offense that Tom Allen wants. I think this is the year that Indiana has to pull off an upset to maybe get to a bowl game. And I think they pull off an upset against Northwestern at home. I like this Indiana offense a lot. I think they'll definitely challenge the secondary of Northwestern with Peyton Ramsey at quarterback. And Northwestern will fall here on the road to Indiana. They return home, though, and luckily for them, as I mentioned, that back half of the schedule is more favorable. 4 home games out of their last 6. They get 3 straight here with Purdue, UMass, and Minnesota. Purdue, a team that returns 9 starters defensively, but only 3 offensively, and that's going to be the key here. Yes, one of those starters is Rondale Moore, one of the most explosive players in the country. Yes, one of them is Elijah Sindelar, a very talented quarterback if he can stay healthy. But back here at home, Northwestern will beat the Boilermakers, a team that I do expect to go bowling for the 3rd straight year under Jeff Brom. But nonetheless, they do fall at Northwestern. They beat UMass, come home again to face off against Minnesota. And as a team that's getting a lot of hype to maybe even win the West in 2019. I think that could be the case for Minnesota next year. This is still a very young Golden Gophers team. And PJ Fleck has continued to build this team up. 5-7 his first year, 7-6 last year, and could be even better this year in 2019. But they're still young, and while I do return a lot of experience, I don't think they have enough to come on the road here at Northwestern, especially as I expect the play out of Hunter Johnson to continue to improve week in and week out. They beat Minnesota, and now they are just 1 win away from bowl eligibility, and I know that's kind of a disappointing year for Northwestern to maybe only win 6 games in the regular season. But this game on the road against Illinois will not be easy for them. Illinois has not been a very dangerous threat in the Big Ten as of late, but they could be this year. They returned 7 starters offensively, 10 defensively, and did a phenomenal job in the transfer portal, bringing in some big-time wide receivers, defensive ends, and Brandon Peters, the transfer quarterback from Michigan. So Illinois could very well pull off a couple upsets in the Big Ten this year. But one of them will not be against Northwestern. The Wildcats will go on the road with bowl eligibility on the line, beat Illinois on the road, and that will give the Wildcats a 6-6 record in 2019. Now, I think a lot of people will criticize that, and when you look at the schedule, maybe you can make a case for them beating Indiana, maybe you make a case for them beating Michigan State or Ohio State, or maybe for some people both. Both of these games being at home, 3-game winning streak over the Spartans, big-time trap game for Ohio State, and an Indiana team that for some will say is undermatched, could very well fall to the Wildcats. That all remains to be seen. I think next year, assuming a lot of these starters return for Northwestern, could be another repeat year for them in the West. I just don't think it comes in 2019. Too many new pieces. Hunter Johnson, I think, is going to do a phenomenal job here in Evanston, but give him some time, Wildcat fans. Give him some time in 2019. But 6-6 for Pat Fitzgerald and his squad. Another job well done, if you ask me, with such a difficult schedule. A chance at a 7-win season if they can win their bowl game. So here from beautiful Ryan Field in Evanston, Illinois, we predict Northwestern Wildcats to go 6-6 and 2019. Guys, thank you for watching. Go follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Gridiron Expert, and check out our website, thegridironexpert.com. Sign up for our expert picks and newsletter there. Our expert picks just $30, and you will receive every single one of our spread picks for the 2019 season. So do not pass that up. Go sign up at thegridironexpert.com today. And guys, as always, thank you for watching us here on YouTube. Please continue to like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you next time on The Gridiron Expert.